Hey everybody, welcome. We will get started here in about 30 seconds or so. We're going to give folks a chance to join. So another 30 seconds, we'll get started. Hey everybody, for those of you just joining, we're going to give it a few more seconds here. A lot of folks coming in. Want to give everybody a chance to join, and then we'll get started here shortly. All right, I've got us a minute after. Let's go ahead and dive in. So, hello, welcome everybody to our Power Up. We appreciate you being here. My name is Nick Cochran. I'm with the Resource Management Institute, and I'll get to be your host for today. We've got some great content planned for you, so we're excited to have you here. Before I get into our agenda and give you a little bit of a background on who we are and what we're talking about today, I do want to give a big shout out and a thanks to our sponsor, Cantata. So we rely on our sponsors to help us to put on these great events for you throughout the year. And so again, Cantata, thank you for your sponsorship and helping us put on this event today. So our topic for today is digital transformation for resource management. I'm going to give you, I just got a couple introductory slides. I want to tell you a little bit about the Resource Management Institute for maybe some of those that are not familiar with the RMI. And then we're going to get into our featured speaker. Wade Little is going to share with you some thoughts about, again, digital transformation for resource management. And then I'll have a couple of updates for you at the end. I'll share with you some things that are coming up and some things that you can take advantage of. And as we go throughout today's session, so these power up sessions are 30 minutes, quick hitters. We want to try to make this, bite-sized content that you can consume. And we'll kind of, run through some good content, some key points here. And so if you have questions, if you have some thoughts, if there's some things that Wade talks about and you're like, hey, I could use some help with that, anything like that, definitely send us a note. You can send it in the questions panel in the chat. That'll come to us, and then we'll take those offline likely. A lot of times we don't have time to get to questions live at the end, and so we'll take those offline and try to follow up with you. But again, any questions you have about the content or any ways that we can help you with your digital transformation, specifically around resource management, we'll be happy to have some conversation and see how we can help you there. All right, for those of you who may not be familiar with the RMI, and even if you are, here's a refresher. So the RMI is an institute that was founded in 2016, and we are dedicated to the advancement of resource and workforce management education, thought leadership, best practices, and standards. We do that a number of different ways. And so, we've got some white papers, some thought leadership. We do market research, and we have surveys that we conduct, and then we publish the results of those for our members. We've got our globally recognized RM training and certification program that's called RMCP, and I'm actually looking at the participant list here, and I see a lot of familiar names, so a lot of RMCPs that are on the line. I'll tell you a little bit more about that at the end. We have our industry collaboration events. So we ran our global symposium live in Indianapolis in April, and we've got another event coming up in the fall. And so I'll tell you a little bit more about that here in just a little bit. But we are a community that's over 4,000 members that have joined the RMI. And so if you haven't joined, I would encourage you to join. So you see a screenshot of our website here. You see that blue button at the top. You can hit join. It's free to join, and you get access to all kinds of good resources, good information, and you'll be in our database so we can inform you of events like today's Power Up, our upcoming RMI Connect event in the fall. Again, I'll tell you more about that here in just a minute, but you'll be in the know, and we'll make sure to keep you informed of everything we've got going on. And so definitely want to encourage you to join today. Or if you have some colleagues, some friends that should join or should be involved in this, definitely send this along, and we'd be happy to have them as a part of the community as well. Okay, with that, I do want to kick it over to Wade. Wade Little is our featured speaker today, and he's going to talk about digital transformation for resource management. And so Wade is a partner and a practice leader for RTM Consulting, and he's also very involved in the RMI. So Wade, the floor is yours.
Awesome. Great. Thanks, Nick. And hi, everybody. As Nick said, my name is Wade Little. I'm a partner at RTM Consulting. And again, as he said, I lead our technology practice. It's good to be here with you today as we talk about some of the things in technology that's enabling digital transformation. Basically, things that'll hopefully transform how we work and enable us to do our jobs better. So, yeah, there you go. Thanks, Nick. So, it's hard to these days to talk about technology and just about anything and not mention AI. It's literally everywhere. There were fears certainly when it first came out about it replacing jobs, and we've talked about this quite a bit at RMGS and the last power up I did. And I put this to chat GPT again. Will AI replace knowledge workers? And we're seeing that no, it won't replace knowledge workers, not anytime soon anyway. And however, it can augment our jobs or make us more productive, and that's really what we're going to talk about here in the presentation today. Now, while AI is certainly stealing the show, the majority, or certainly many of the people that I talk to are just trying to use technology for the meat and potatoes, right? The basics of kind of doing their jobs. All right, so let's talk about the basics first. Most people, as I said, that I talk to, are just trying to do the core activities for the resource manager role. And how can basic technology help you do these activities better? Some, unfortunately, are doing this in spreadsheets, although most have recently implemented some sort of technology, resource management software or PSA, to help them perform these activities. The first on the list is a resource schedule. And out of all the things, this is probably the most basic and the most important. So just having a master view into the schedule of resources to see who's working on what, who's available, who's on PTO. I might be able to slice and dice this a little by business unit or department or location or role, and maybe even filter in things like skills. But the point is I just need a view to see resources and what they're doing or who's available. And at its core, I need this list to be able to make any sort of decisions or have conversations about, again, who's working on what, who can be available for upcoming work. And I've seen everything from Excel or Google Sheets to do this all the way up again to some sort of resource management or PSA specific technology to enable this. The second on the list here, and again, this is certainly core to the resource management function as well. This is staffing, and so I'd like to see my technology help to enable me to simply assign a person to a project. In some cases, maybe this is a line item in a spreadsheet. In some more advanced cases, maybe there's a list for me to work through, maybe some matching or some recommendations and maybe even a workflow for approvals. But I need a way to assign people to projects, and I want my technology to help me do that. The third thing sort of goes with the second thing, and that's skills. You've likely all seen our jitter framework, and this is certainly a key piece of that. And in a services business, especially today, it's more important than ever to be able to differentiate our employees over the competition. And one of the ways to do that is to identify and track their skills and experience. And we're going to talk a good bit about kind of skills management coming up in some of the future slides when we get to talk about AI. But in this instance, again, the meat and potatoes version, I need just a simple list so I can see who has what skills and maybe even use that to help assign a person to a project. The last kind of basic thing that a resource manager would need from its technology is some sort of way to see a capacity plan, something that can that can show for the next 6, 12, 18 months, what's my demand and FTE, and what's my supply, so that, I can see where I either have too much or not enough people. Um, at minimum, I'd like to see this for all my work under contract. In a better world, I'd like to be able to also see, some pipeline data kind of layered in here, and maybe even, some what if capabilities. What if I closed everything at 90% that's in my pipeline, or what if I close these 3 big deals? What kind of impact will that have on my capacity? Again, there may be a couple of other things that an RM does that need some help, or support from technology, but these here are probably the, kind of the top of the list. And most importantly, I think that, these are some capabilities that are table stakes for most of the software providers. Okay, so now on to AI. So for those of you, who are doing just the basics, as we just discussed previously, um, these are some things that are potentially just around the corner for you. And some others, maybe you're even doing some of these things today, to make your jobs a little more productive. The first area that I want to talk about that's really being impacted by AI is profile or skills management. So basically, important information about the employee. And as I said earlier, it's so important to know skills and experience of our resources, not just for us, but for our clients, and they're demanding to know this, as well. So I think we're all probably pretty familiar with the challenges of keeping a skills inventory or a profile or project experiences up to date, or even to start one. Maybe you've had to create a spreadsheet or a survey and send it around, and then, once it's created, then you have to have some sort of campaign or big push to get them updated, once or twice a year. And a lot of times, frankly, the information just gets stale. So, tons of time to put this together and to maintain it, and oftentimes it's still out of date. And so the good news is, there's a lot of innovation that's happening here. Um, there are now capabilities, such as some AI capabilities, such as resume parsing, that can take a resume, upload it, parse it, looking for, kind of skills keywords, and create that initial skills profile. And this is, way easier and way less time consuming than starting from scratch. And then, once you have this initial inventory, there are other features, to help keep the information kind of fresh and up to date. Things like skills adjacency, which is, if you have this particular skill, you might also have this other, kind of related skill. And the tool is combing through the data, doing the analysis, and presenting the information to you, just to have you confirm, oh yes, I do have this skill. Oh, and this one too. And this information can be, kind of presented on an automatic schedule of your choosing, once a month, at the end of each project, a couple times a year. And this is just a way to keep things, updated and fresh. Um, there's more and more capability now, also around skills gaps, and skills development, helping us develop the best talent. And then, what about our customers who want to know skills and experience of our consultants? There are capabilities now, that can take all the information that we've put into that person's profile, and put it into a company branded format. So you don't have to spend, time chasing a CV from the consultant, or, scanning through all sorts of CV libraries only to find, finally get the right CV, pull it up, and it hasn't been updated for a couple of years. So then you got to chase down the consultant to get him or her to update it. And so, it's just all more time and effort. And I'm seeing some AI capabilities here to use the information on the profile, not just skills, but account and project experience, also to kind of help surface this information to resource managers for staffing recommendations, um, but also here for sales teams who might be pursuing an opportunity at a specific account. So like, hey, salesperson, here are the people that have experience for this account, and here are the projects that we've done, so that they can be a little bit more effective at their jobs and selling to our potential customers. So the point here is to take a lot of these kind of mundane tasks that are time consuming, and make them either easier or eliminated altogether. Um, so the second area that I'd like to talk about is around staffing. Now, I know I said this was kind of meat and potatoes. However, there are some AI capabilities that are helping us to do this core function even better. And some of the more recent releases of software, there's more and more information or insights or analytics being surfaced to help us make a decision around staffing. So, information about skills that we just talked about, that match those that are needed, or even things like margin impact on the project, or highlights that says, hey, this person doesn't travel. And so, not long ago, it was mostly just kind of role and availability that was used to help us choose the right person. But now we have the ability to so much more information. Maybe we can compare, for example, what's on the slide here, the top three candidates, and I can easily see that, you know, based on some recommendation engine, and if you staff this person, maybe the margin is 50%, but if you staff this other person, the margin will be 55%. Of course, you don't have to make the decision solely based on margin, but again, the point is, now I have this wealth of information that's right at my fingertips to help me make a better, more informed decision. There are capabilities not only to help me do kind of one by one staffing, but also staffing for an entire project, or even the whole organization, or all of the open demand. And the recommendations here can be tailored based on some sort of weighted criteria. For example, I think cost or margin is most important, or maybe skills match or team experience is more important, or location, et cetera. You get the idea. But it's up to you, and it's all configurable, on what you think is most important. In some cases, the software can even do the staffing without intervention from you or a human. You might not want to do this for every situation, but perhaps for the less strategic roles. So not to pick on testers, but maybe I need a generic tester with these kind of basic skills that fit into this cost profile. And depending on your organization and situation, if I have hundreds of these testers per month that I need to staff, it could be helpful to have the software just do the assignment, and saving keystrokes on or saving time on keystrokes, or interlocks or conversations that I'd need to have about these. And this could free me up to spend more time on the more strategic, or potentially thorny assignments, ones that do kind of need maybe some conversations. So lots of automation and capabilities to help me do staffing better. and faster. The last area is around alerts and notifications. And if there's one thing I've heard from resource managers and quite frankly, general users of technology in the services industry, it's been that people want notifications and alerts for when they need to take action. And the software industry, I think, has largely listened, and it's happening. This is something I think that should be at the core of AI, right? To go out and look at all of the information and tell me what I need to take action on. I'd like the software to help me be more proactive rather than looking at maybe some reports and having to kind of make my own conclusions. And so, I've seen some capabilities here available for when there's a schedule change, right? This is certainly something that we want to be aware of, right? The project gets delayed, by a month or a couple of months, and the PM updates the schedule. Well, I'd like to know that, or what about the fact that the project is at risk and there's a possible delay that could result in a schedule change. And wouldn't I want to know about that and be a little bit more proactive? And long leaves of absences or long PTOs, that could affect it, that potentially affect the project. This would also be good to know. um, I'd certainly like to know when there are conflicts. So not just, knowing about a schedule that's changed, but now there's a conflict. So Nick was assigned to, this project or task, and now that there's this schedule change, he's double booked. Um, and so, how about notification for when capacity is low? So we talked about earlier, a capacity plan, and I know there's been some reports and dashboards that can help us here. But AI can also and is now being leveraged to surface this to our attention in a more proactive way, right? So an alert or a notification, hey, you're going to be low on PMs starting on October 1st. Um, so, alerts and notifications are a growing area for where AI is helping us do our jobs better. These are just some examples, but really the possibilities here are almost limitless, and software providers are making this a configurable thing. You want a notification for this, great. Let's build one or configure one. So lots of technology capabilities out there that can help us with our jobs. Some that are basic and some that are a little bit more advanced. And so the last thing I want to leave you with today is just some things to think about with respect to technology. The first, if these are things that you think can help you, engage with your software provider to see what's available to help. They're constantly updating their software and coming out with new releases. So ask. Or if you don't have one but are evaluating technology, ask the people that you're evaluating. Ask what features are available to help you be more productive at your job. Next on the list, and I've said this many a times. I did a presentation, I think, at RMGS a year or two ago. Technology is not a silver bullet. It's certainly important and can be a key enabler, but you also have to have the right processes and organization in place for technology and the whole thing to work harmoniously. There are lots of tools available through the RMI to ensure that you have the right organization and charter and roles and responsibilities and the right processes in place to be the most effective. So definitely leverage those. The third thing, consider how technology is changing the role of resource management for the better. and start planning for those changes. And hopefully by automating some of these more, kind of lower level tasks and surfacing, key insights and information, it allows you to be more productive and more strategic in your role. And the last one, and this one maybe a little bit out there, but definitely something to start to think about, especially with regard to AI and its proliferation. In particular, how our consultants are using it on our client projects to make them more productive. So, how does this impact staffing? So, for example, if there are, agents and bots that are being developed and used to help our consultants, how do we know and track that? Are these bots and agents just, kind of skills that we track, or are they now kind of non-human resources that we need to, kind of track and deploy and potentially even price for? So again, just some things to ponder. So, that's it for my presentation. I believe, as Nick said, all these questions we're handling offline, and happy certainly to answer any of these questions. And again, if you have or want to engage in a deeper conversation about this or anything technology related, please reach out. So thanks again, everybody, and have a great rest of your day. Nick, back over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Wade. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate you taking some time to share with us. And so I'll just reiterate real quick what Wade said. If there's anything that jumped out to you, whether it is those meat and potatoes, whether you're starting to venture into the AI space and specifically around your technology, or even in this slide, the process and organization, if there's anything that you kind of look at and say, yeah, we need some help there or have some more questions about it, definitely reach out. We'd love to have a conversation and see how we can help there. So again, thanks, Wade. Appreciate you being here today. So I'll just wrap us up here with a couple of kind of upcoming events and things to make you aware of. And so the first thing to mention is we have RMI Connect coming back in the fall. And so I see a lot of familiar names out there. So I know some of you or many of you have been to the event. But this will be our sixth annual. It's a virtual event. So this will be taking place September 23rd and September 25th later this fall. And so I think it's a Tuesday, Thursday. And so it's kind of too many events in the sense that we've got like 3 hours scheduled on the 23rd, 3 hours scheduled on the 25th. You're going to get a mix of keynotes. You're going to have some breakouts where we've got some RMI members that will be sharing some of their stories, specifically around maturity. I should have mentioned the theme here is advancing the journey to resource management excellence. And so we're going to just kind of talk about how do we do that and what does that look like and how do we continue our way down that path. And one thing that's new this year is we've got what we're going to call RMI Connections, and it's basically virtual roundtables. And so as you register for the event, we're going to ask you what's the topic that you're most interested in having a conversation about. And so our goal is then to put folks together into small breakout rooms where you'll have the opportunity to chat with others that are interested in that topic and have again an opportunity to just network and have some dialogue around some topic that's of interest to you. And so again, RMI Connect, September 23rd and 25th. Registration is going to open next week. And so again, like I mentioned earlier on, if you've joined the RMI, great, you'll hear about it. If you haven't, make sure you join the RMI, and we'll make sure to send you information about how to register. We've got team discounts available as well. And so if you have questions about that, definitely let us know. But looking forward to seeing many of you there in September. And the last thing I want to mention is RMCP. And so if you've heard us mention it a couple of times, Wade referenced the JITR framework. And so that's that just-in-time resourcing framework there on the right. And so we've got a certification program for resource managers, first of its kind. And so if you're interested in more training around a little bit of the science of how resource management works, some of that meat and potatoes of you see their skills, staffing, how do we forecast, what does governance look like, what metrics and things should we be thinking about. This class is for you. And so it's a 3-day classroom, so in-person class, or we have online instructor-led, which covers 6 separate sessions, or you can take it on demand, available 24/7. So great opportunity to get certified in resource management. Our upcoming schedule, we have several virtual classes coming up. One that starts next month in July, a couple in Q4, and then our featured class. So our in-person class, August 19th through the 21st in our headquarters in Cincinnati, Ohio. Would love to have people in person there. Great opportunity to bump shoulders, network with folks as you get the certification there as well. If you have questions, definitely let us know. We'd be happy to talk. And then finally, just want to give one last shout out to our sponsor, Cantata. Thank you to Cantata for sponsoring this Power Up and just being a great partner for us. So we can't put on these events and all the great content that we provide to you without our sponsors. So Cantata, thank you for that. With that, I know we're at the top of the hour, so thank you for being here. Thank you, Wade, for being here and presenting, and we hope to see you all soon.